it. The lesson is that they look like they are in the dunya so engulfed that they've forgotten that the world is a test, and that just reminds you. You're not saying that they are, you're just deriving a lesson from the picture. So mashallah, it seems like one person does the reflections, but now the message to all of us is that next time we go for a walk, next time we go for sightseeing, we go for lesson deriving as well, inshallah. So now inshallah I'd like to request and also share and introduce Ustad Sharlam, and who can also share with you the next journey, the real journey why you came here for today and this retreat. You've now seen the preconditions, and what Ustad Sharlam is going to go through is the actual journey of the spiritual openings, the background behind that. No more about the conditions, but much more about the actual journey itself. And as Brother Mustafa was asking before about too much information, feeling overwhelmed, remember, you don't need to remember anything. If you forget it, fine. The only thing you need to remember is what to do, and you will learn the journey as you go through it. The things that you need to remember will be given to you, and that's all you need to focus on. Whatever you absorb, good and well. If you don't absorb it, it's not a problem. So inshallah, listen freely without any worry of, I have to remember all of this. You don't have to remember any of it. Next time you hear it again in the recording or another retreat, you will take it to another level. You will benefit more, and then inshallah, the journey, the improvement, the lessons never end. As you see already from Professor Muhammad, different people have different levels of understanding. Some will take more. Some things are said for some people, and other things are said for others. And everyone is benefiting in their own capacity. So on that note, I'll finish, and inshallah Ustad Sharlam will begin and enlighten you, inshallah. Jazakallah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Again, before I go through that, we would like to keep it as brief as possible. The purpose isn't the theory, although it seems like it is on Saturday, but it's just a necessary aspect that we have to cover, so that inshallah after Maghrib, inshallah, we're going to begin all the amals. So inshallah we'll repeat the important aspect which you need to know to follow the different the muraqabahs and the ascension journey and so on. So without actually going into much details of it, just to touch upon. So if you don't remember, it's fine, you don't have to worry about it. I'm just going to touch upon on each aspect as well. So as we know, you see the screen? Yeah, so you can see the titles there, that there are many aspects of the blessed life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But the purpose for we sat here for, there actually we can say two aspects as mentioned here. So the first aspect is that what has been covered so far from yesterday's session until now is primarily we're focusing on the physical aspect of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because remember, this retreat, the title is Muhammadan Opening. So we have to familiarize with the life and the seerah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So all aspects which is covered up till now, what Ustad Usman has covered, is nothing other than the one or certain aspects from the seerah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is important, because what we're trying to learn here is the opening and have that miraj of a believer. Yes, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he lived in this life. We can study the seerah, that's the physical aspect, and how to implement the sharia, the sunnah, and so on and so forth. But he also had the spiritual miraj, especially in the month of Rajab as well, which inshallah in this gathering, in subsequent retreats, will cover this aspect as well. So always remember very briefly, if you didn't remember anything else, so you don't have to read all that if it becomes too much. Just remember, number one, is there's a physical aspect of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and up to now, all the information has been relayed to you the conditions and the obstacles and so on, it is relating to some aspect of the seerah, of the biography and the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Meccan period and in Medinan period as well. So that's number one. So I'm not going to go all the details, it's already been covered. So you might be relieved to hear that as well. So this is, for example, what Ustad Usman has covered, the journey of soul, the belief system, Aqidah, fiqh, and so on and so forth. I'm going to skip all that. And then the physical journey as well, you could say, the tongue, ears, eyes, stomach, and all the 7 organs. So this has been covered. So in one sense, you can think about this physical, the aspect of life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is also a journey as well, and that's shown here, illustrated in this presentation. So briefly, I'm just going through the purification aspect. These 4 conditions mentioned as well, presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and so on. And ultimately, our aim is the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Aim of all aims and objectives of all objectives is the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His closeness. So this is like a brief summary of everything what's been said so far today. So if you don't remember anything, just look at the picture, give you a few seconds. If you understand all aspects, then you've understood the whole concept of the lectures today. You don't have to worry about the details. So if you understand what we mean by life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you have understood one aspect of it. The journey of soul and the thinking process we did earlier, the belief system, Aqidah, fiqh, repentance, striving, tongues, and so on and so forth. Purification of the mind, heart, and full journey. If you have just quickly have any questions on any aspect still, just put your hand up. One brother will come with the mic, so that we're 100% sure that you've understood. Okay, mashallah. So I'll quickly move on then. Now the second aspect of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So as I mentioned here, that the apex of the spiritual journey, well in this case the physical journey of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the night of Miraj, that he did Isra and Miraj. He traveled first of all from Kaaba and Mecca to Bayt al-Maqdis in Masjid al-Aqsa, and from the Masjid al-Aqsa we know the story very in detail, where they offered a salah amongst all the Anbiyas in the Masjid al-Aqsa. Then from the Dome of Rock they've ascended to the heavens. So this is what has been referred to here, inshallah, of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So yeah, there's many things mentioned about in terms of, for example, like the model. He's the model for the both aspect of the journey of life of this world and of the journey of life in the spiritual sense as well. And here, what we intend to do in this session is just to give you like a snapshot or an overview of this journey, which obviously established from the Quran and Sunnah and Ahadith and so on. And some of them may be landmarks and pitfalls and so on. So you're absolutely clear. Now, again, the title of the poster, if you see, is mentioned that there are many 7 stages, levels of knowledge or the certainty that we're going to we have talked about yesterday. But I'm going to obviously some of these points I've already covered yesterday. For example, like the ilmul yaqeen, aqlul yaqeen, qalbul yaqeen, ainul yaqeen. But in this retreat, what we're trying to do is, inshallah, from number 1, we want to go to number 4. So that's another blessing and a gift. So we can go straight from number 1 to number 4, inshallah. And number 4 is Ainul Yaqeen, which is the eye of certainty. Basically, that spiritually, when the opening is happening, then you at your own level, there are different levels as well, don't forget. In your own level, inshallah, you should be able to have that experience, to see and some kind of taste as well of that realm, inshallah. And then from number 4, yes, there are other aspects, inshallah, but we're going to try to obviously, for some at least, inshallah, we don't go to number 7 as well straight away. This is called the haqiqah, the reality of certainty. This is where you're not only traveling, you actually get to see the realm, interact, draw lessons from, meet the arwah, the souls of many anbiya and the pious and righteous and so on. So like I said, in this gathering, there are people of various levels, from the beginner to people who are already used to the path. So that's why you're mentioning these aspects, inshallah. So yeah, this is an example, if I may quickly go. So quickly ask you, especially brothers who are doing this, the 3 levels of certainty that we talked about, the ilmul yaqeen, the ainul yaqeen, and haqqul yaqeen. If I were to select someone and say, give me an example of ilmul yaqeen, Brother Amr, would you be able to say? Ilmul yaqeen. Just give an analogy. Yes, you've had the definitions and so on and so forth, but now you want to internalize that knowledge. And if someone, let's say, like scientists, like many guys, scientists of the past, they say that, well, no matter how big your scientist you are, most expert in the field, you should be able to explain the hard concepts to a primary school child. If you cannot do that, you've not really understood the concept. And the best way to do this is by to simile and examples and analogy. That's the best way people learn and fastest way to learn. So, alhamdulillah, I understand you already know this, ilmul yaqeen. But very quickly, how can you explain that to a 10-year-old? Comes and asks you, Dad, tell me what is ilmul yaqeen. I heard this. Ustad was saying this in school today. Okay, that's fine, mashallah. But sometimes you have to think about it. Yes? MashaAllah, fantastic. So it's knowing about something. So like example given by our Ustad Ansar is that, for example, like some people maybe have, but most people, I think, I'll be safe to say that not been to Australia. Who's been to Australia? Put your hand up. No one. Yeah, I thought so. So, but we all believe and know that Australia exists. Maybe we've heard as a child we studied in a world map atlas. We saw it in the corner somewhere. The land down under, they say, is under somewhere there, that we all believe in it. But for some, this is the ilmul yaqeen, that we have the conviction that the country of Australia exists. So that's a very simple way to explain to someone an example of what is ilmul yaqeen. So that's it. So in this presentation, so example of, for example, is shown here. I'm going to skip some of the things. She's shown. So example of that is, the ilmul yaqeen would be that you hear on the news, CNN, BBC, whatever, that in California there's a huge fire broke out. You just heard the news on the radio. Now you believe in it because it's a reliable source. So source is important, Quran and Sunnah and so forth, and the teacher you learn from. So you heard on the news, they say, breaking news, there's a huge fire broke out in California because of summer, mass fire started. So that's the ilmul yaqeen that we know. The next one is, like is shown in that picture here, is this second level of yaqeen, which is now ainul yaqeen. That you see the live footage. Why is it that these news reporters, they think it's important that they show you the live witness account? You'd believe it. BBC says the news. You'd normally believe it. BBC is a reliable source. CNN, whatever. Maybe some Google obscure website is not reliable. Maybe fake news, but you tend to believe these kind of international known channels. But why they actually search for, go live in that area where the action is taking place, get one of the witnesses, people of different race, people of different experience, profession. They ask, what do you think? How has it affected your life? Because it makes it that more, real, the whole experience. Gives you that extra layer of understanding what's going on. And this is the ainul yaqeen. You might be seeing on your phones, on your laptop, on TV news and so on. So this is like seeing a blazing fire in a forest, as is shown in the picture. So that's very, very quickly, you can understand. So by that token, if I were to ask someone here, do you want to volunteer to put your hand up? What is haqqul yaqeen? Thank you, but let me just ask someone else as well. You're going to get all the brownie points today, mashallah. Yes? Yes? Fantastic, mashallah. So an example of our Ustad has given is, first of all, you know about a fruit like apple. Second, you can see it with your own eyes or on TV screen. And thirdly, you actually bite it and taste the taste of apple. So someone like a child who's never seen an apple before, and this is how you go through those three different stages. So similarly, in this example, it's shown that one is you know about the fire through a news. Number two, you hear from the live account or see the news live footages, for example. That increases the level that yes, surely it is happening. It's not fake news as such. And number 3 is if you're actually inside in that whole village or that area, or just outside of it, you can feel the heat, you're in there where the action is taking place. So that's haqqul yaqeen. So why are we saying this again? This will be referred back to the spiritual journey that we'll be going through, inshallah. That at whatever level you can experience this, inshallah. So all the light and so on, that's not the objective really today. So the objective, briefly I'll touch upon, again, as you already know, our objective here is to see and to witness and to taste. So here, obviously, the first objective is to witness some of the things of Aqidah, like you've been through with Ustad Usman, in terms of believing in day judgment, believing the Qabr and so on, the full journey. That is obviously from the belief point of view, we know, but we can experience that. Number 2, very quickly, says that not only obviously we love and believe in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but to have some kind of witness and the presence or even communication spiritually with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So especially in this case, this also becomes an objective. If you just remember that, that's fine. I'm not going to go to any detail. Third one is that, for example, it's very similar to what we did in the preconditions, that this interaction and this experience becomes such that your whole perception in life and your how you interact with the creation changes. You not become the same person as what you were before. Because when you start to witness the whole world and whole creation, your own kind of self and your mindset, it expands, your horizon becomes so vast. So you truly become like a person who thinks about globally and the goodness of the creation and so on. We don't really fall into this tit for tat, or he did this to me, so I have to do that to me anymore. Because you see the whole existence and where you fit in and what role you have to play as a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this compassion for creation and so on, it comes in and you see it in a different light. And that's why you start to unlock that, why we say that in awliya, in their heart it's like a grave. You throw everything at it, it never throws back. It just accepts it. It absorbs everything. If anything, it gives you back goodness instead. And okay, they're also human beings, but they've reached that status and that level of understanding and forbearance and tolerance is because of a certain reason, through a training and through these things, understanding the real picture and really become the mercy of the whole world and mankind by following this example of Sunnah Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But that really becomes manifest in a life when you yourself experience all that within. And then you think all this universe and all the skies and all the heavens we can attain and we can benefit from. Why am I fighting over a small piece of land here? So that your basically the whole mindset becomes fully expanded and vast in that realm, inshallah. So I'll quickly go through. And again, the objective, all objective, is that we seeking through this as well is the infinite pleasure and the closeness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By doing this, it's not going to take us there, but what that does is gives us extra motive, intense, extra, you could say, reward, extra energy, that I'm not the same person as a person who just believes. I've experienced something. I've got something extra, something special in me. So you're then expected to live by that as well, inshallah, as opposed to someone who's struggling to do their basics, inshallah. And this way, inshallah, then the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends upon us, inshallah. So again, I'm not going to go through the details because we've had enough details so far. So again here, first of all, is the prophetic ascension that takes place. First of all, here he mentioned that for that to take place, the spiritual journey, that there are some spiritual subtleties in our body. So like the soul or the spirit, I think better to use the word spirit, which is the ruh in our body, which we cannot locate, we exist, we know. How do you know you exist? Very quickly. Brother Zafar, how do you know the ruh exists in our body now? How do I know that I have a ruh here? Yeah, and we awake as well at the moment. Because when you sleep, the ruh travels as well. So that's one way to check whether you're awake or not, whether it's still with you. So mashallah, yeah, Brother Zafar is with us at least, mashallah, in spirit. So like the ruh, there are other, it's called spiritual subtleties or centers exist within the body as well. There are many, here is mentioned 11 entities. And these also has its function where you have to purify. It has a link to our body and our actions and so on. So one by one, we learn and go through and purify. And then after that, what happens is then once this is done, then a spiritual transfer happens. Now the details of that, the technical detail, our Ustad Sajid will go through after this session, inshallah. So this technical part I'm not going to at the moment. I'm just giving you an overall picture as well. How this purification of our spiritual, the subtleties takes place. It's called latifa for singularity, and plural it says lataif. How that takes place, what happens, he will go through all the technical details, inshallah. So when that happens and you transfer spiritually, really your spiritual eye then opens up and you transfer and travel, you go to Masjid al-Nabawi. You do the blessed visitation there, seek permission, and then like the real journey of the Miraj, the ascension which happened in the night of Miraj of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam physically, then we also mimic that, follow that path as well. So from there, Masjid al-Nabawi, we go to Kaaba, spiritually there. There's certain adhkars and zikr we do there while we sat there, inshallah. Again, our Ustad Sajid will go through the details. I'm not mentioning too much here at this moment. So from Kaaba, like you know in the story, in the Miraj of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he went to Masjid al-Aqsa, Bait al-Maqdis. So spiritually, we also travel there, inshallah. Then from there, then really the journey in the Barzakh. Just quickly, just to see everyone's awake. But the Dawood, what is Barzakh?
It's the place where the souls will stay after one dies.
Yeah, mashallah. So normally we say, oh, someone passed away, he's in qabr, he's in the grave. Grave is not that small pit we see on the ground or where everyone is buried. It's actually a huge realm. It covers the 7 skies we know, and all that in between as well. So, for example, in the realm of Barzakh or the grave, for example, first of all, then you start in this journey, like it's shown here. You go to the first sky. There's certain Anbiya reside in the first sky. If you can find from the Hadith as well. We'll not go into detail. So, you know, for example, in the first sky, or some people refer that as heaven as well. So don't get confused. Here we're referring to the Sama, the skies here. In the first sky, for example, Adam alayhi salam resides, and from the hadith we know. If you look at the hadith on the Miraj of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he mentioned that they meant, for example, Adam alayhi salam, then Isa alayhi salam, and so on and so forth. So, and then in the second sky, another group of Anbiya you meet. Then the third, another group of Anbiya. Fourth, another group of Anbiya. Fifth, Idris alayhi salam, and so on. Sixth, Musa alayhi salam, for example, he resides there. Then the seventh one is Ibrahim alayhi salam. That also shows, indicates the status of these Anbiyas as well, how high they are in the heavens. So spiritually, many people, inshallah, we're going to have many sessions as well, will traverse some of these paths, some of these stations, and some people will experience some of it. So inshallah, how the session will be that we'll go through, but we also make it quite interactive. So feedback will be important, how you experience, how you feel. From this, then we can navigate how the journey is going as well, inshallah. So please be quite attentive and responsive as well then, inshallah. So from there, then the obviously 7 skies. Then after 7 skies, the heavenly Kaaba there. Arabic, there's a term for this. Who knows the term? Just to see that everyone's engaged still. Yes. So in each realm, so before that, in each realm of the skies, it has its own Kaaba as well. Like, exactly superimposes, so to speak, of the Kaaba of this earth. So in the first sky there's a Kaaba as well. In the second sky there's a Kaaba, and it carries on like this. But above the 7th one there's a main one that is known. Who knows the name? Yes, brother Hashfaq. Yes, that's correct. So that's the Baitul Ma'mul, the heavenly Kaaba. That's where all the angels continuously doing tawaf around it. And once they get to do tawaf, they never get opportunity to do it again. That's how busy that place is. Imagine that once in a lifetime opportunity angels get. They come and do tawaf and they return, mashallah. So after the heavenly Kaaba, then there's a huge, like a dome. It says Dome of Barzakh. That's the realm where the Barzakh or the veil ends. That's the end limit. That's the end. It comes there. Where many of the, also like here in the Quran and the Hadith that the soul when they pass away or in sleep or when someone passes away, if they're a pious and righteous person, it can go to those different stations. Ala illiyin. These are some of the illiyin mentioned here, and the highest one is being Dome of Barzakh. Or Sijjin, which is the lowest of the low as well. All the sins of the sinners and the disbelievers goes there as well. So we're not covering the Sijjin part today, more of the Illiyin part, inshallah. So that's the Dome of Barzakh. That's the end where the Barzakh ends. You know, that Qabr until Yawmul Qiyamah, that's the limit, inshallah. So after the Yawmul Qiyamah, so beyond that, there are the heavenly realms now. So after that comes the stations and heavenly realms. That's where really some of the paradise. I use very carefully the word paradise, not heaven, so that no one's confused. Paradise meaning Jannah and all these different realms and so on. So in this heavenly realm, the first one that comes is low tree. Quickly again, just to keep everyone activated. But the Siraj, what is this low tree in Arabic? Okay, Ji? Sidratul Muntaha. So that's where it comes in the first journey in the heavens. Sidratul Muntaha. So obviously, again, you can refer back to Hadith, many details. I'm not going into at the moment. So after Sidratul Muntaha, then it starts the heaven, the different paradise rather. Sorry, different paradise starts. The different Jannah. We know there's 8 Jannah in there. So first one, for example, here is mentioned station of Tawheed, Jannatul Naeem. Then Jannatul Ma'wa, then comes the Jannatul Khuld, then Jannatul Eden. Everyone knows about Jannatul Eden, right? Yeah? Uncle Iqbal, you're shaking your head. You don't know story about Jannatul Eden? Who resided there?
I haven't been there yet.
Okay, mashallah. One day, inshallah, physically will be there. But, okay, anyone else? Quickly? Yeah, that's where Adam was residing before he came down to this planet Earth as a Khalifa, as a prophet. So that's referring there, for example. So after Eden, then Firdaus. Now normally when you do dua, you say, oh Allah, grant someone Firdaus. Firdaus has many, many different levels as well. So one level in there is actually called, for example, Illiyin. Now this is about Jannah Illiyin, not the Barzakh Illiyin. This is the Illiyin of the Jannat as well in paradise. And even after that, there's actually one further one called Mazid. That's the 8th one, the highest one. Ignore the tablet and the pen. That's also wrongly labeled here. So after that, then you got the Kursi, and then after Kursi, really, you have the throne. Are we all with us? Are we lost somewhere along the way now? Yeah? Shall we stop here or shall we carry on? So if you reached Arsh, you reached a great place you reached already. Arsh al-Azim, you know. So who knows about certain angels who reside there? Or not reside there, they have a certain duty there. What are the name of those angels? Ji? Yes. So they have got duty in the pillar, the Hamili, the Arash they call it. It's in the surah. They have a great duty. They are very honored angels there as well. Okay, shall we move forward quickly? Yeah, okay. Like they say in English, if you aim for the stars, you might reach the sky. So we only aim for the highest and hopefully we'll reach some stations, inshallah. So after the throne, there are many, many other stations and realms. We're going to briefly touch on some of them. There are actually, in fact, the 9 levels after the Arsh. The 9 other levels after the Arsh. They just begin. This is not the... When someone reaches the Arsh, then he finds out there's actually the journey just begun now to something else, to a higher realm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the beauty and blessings of it. So people who believe, say, Allah is upon Arsh for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know how wrong they are now. Literally, it's not that. There's many, many other stations and realms. So then the 9 stations, I'm not going to go into the details for now, but just to touch upon, that there's actually a divine, many of the manifestation of the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gets manifested there after that, the manifestation of mercy. And then there are actually many, many other openings and doors, huge heavenly doors exist there as well. Basically, it gives you access to higher realms as well. And then from there are actually, like I said, veils as well. These are veils of not darkness, veils of light. It's hard to understand. Veils of darkness is easy to understand. There's a veil there and it's dark, you can't see. You remove that veil, you can see something behind that. Very easy concept. Waves of light is very subtle. There's nothing wrong with it, but basically when one is removed, you're getting more higher access to the higher realm. If you simply understand that concept, that you get more closer and of experience of the journey, inshallah. Then after that, there's another world called World of Raqqa as well, special place there. Not going to go into much detail, but special things that happen there. And from there, then comes a station of excellence. This is a very, very high station of the prophets and the Anbiyas, and so on, and Awliya as well. So after that station, then there's actually a very huge house of Allah. Now, this is nothing like any other house that we can ever think of, or Kaaba. It's something completely different. And then after that, then the station of servanthood really begins. So now you understand why this Asrabi Abdi is so important, being a servant in relation to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his ascension to the heavens, because the real being a servant and status of servanthood really begins from there in the higher realms. So for example, you got one station of Abdiya, servitude. Then after that, there's the Abudiyat, inner servitude. One is external servitude, one is inner servitude, or more spiritual servitude, Abudiyya. Then after Abudiyya, then is the Abuda. They're completely annihilated in the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a very one of the highest stations as well of servitude and being Abd. And then after there's many other beyond that, and then pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends upon the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So being a Abd actually is one of the highest stations one could achieve in this spiritual journey as well. Any questions so far, quickly? Not the details, I'm not going to go the details or anything like that. Just so that you... Ji?
These three stations of Abudiyya, are they above House of Allah?
Sorry, let's go back then quickly. So all these stations now you can see on the screen. Screen? Yeah, thank you. So these stations are all from the throne to House of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Now if I move next one, now it's going beyond, above station of servanthood, yeah? So these are the three, and the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Not sure if I can ask this, but how did you get this man?
Like I said, this is not the retreat for Dalai and so on. It all exists, and it will be a separate session for this. But it exists coming from the obviously Quran, Sunnah, and the Mashayikh as well, from the silsila. It's all coming from there. Because nothing we say is just all made up. Someone just read it somewhere in the book. We don't know if it's haqq or truth. It is haqq. It's from the Dalai exists. But here, our focus is that we want to learn and traverse some of this path. Imagine someone reaches the Abdiyat or Abu Dar and so on. Then how much of a difference will they have in their own life? Will he have difficulty waking up for Fajr Salah and going to masjid? I hope not. Even if the whole masjid, the whole locality is empty, he's not going to say, I might as well go to sleep, no one is going to masjid today. It's a break for me. He's just going to carry on because his objective and his whole perception of life changes completely. So that's the reality of what you learn from these things, inshallah. Yeah, sure.
Jazakallah, thank you, Bismillah. So one thing to add to this is the Holy Prophet ﷺ, when he returned physically from the night of Miraj, and he ﷺ told the companions radiallahu anhum, and the others as well, about the night and what happened. The believers believed immediately. The Muslims, they believed immediately. Non-Muslims, they didn't believe, and they were questioning and so on. Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, he immediately believed without even questioning anything at all. And that day the companions asked that, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you went physically, so you got to go and experience this and so on, physically and spiritually. What is our Miraj? And they asked, what is our Miraj? And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave them the gift that day. The gift was given that day. What was the gift? Salah. Salah was given. And when Salah was given to them, it was said to them, Salah is the Miraj of a believer. Have you heard this hadith before? It's a very famous one. Salah is the miraj of a believer. Now it also makes sense that why the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that Salah is the coolness of my eyes. That the coolness of my eyes, that's what that means is that's the nicest place for me to be and for me to see and for me to taste. Coolness of my eyes is the thing which makes me the most happiest. That's where I like to be and where I like to see. So it tells you that in the Salah, if the Salah is a miraj of a believer, never mind the miraj of prophets and messengers, that's beyond us, we can never comprehend. But every believer can have a miraj. And that means you can have this, and we can all have this as well. But the other thing is that this is not the type of knowledge that is taught to normal people. You're being only revealed this, shown this because you've come to this spiritual retreat, you want spiritual openings. But is this the type of thing which the Holy Prophet ﷺ would do dawah for? Would he? No. When after this, did it intensify? Did things become easier in the life of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, or did it become harder? It became harder. Many things happened after this that then the test intensified. So the hijrah and so on happened after. So they were still in Makkah Sharif. So things became more difficult, and this was given to him sallallahu alaihi wasallam to strengthen him even more, that you've seen it even physically, nothing will ever be able to stand in his way. It wouldn't have stood in his way before, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gifted him this after Taif. It was after Taif this happened. So which he sallallahu alaihi wasallam referred to as one of the most difficult times of his blessed life. So what I'm saying is these things are not mentioned to the normal, the arm person, the public. It's only given to a few people. And Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anh, he once said, and he mentioned, because many, if you look at how many ahadith are narrated by Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anh, is there many? There's very, very, very few. Yet he is the companion that spent the majority of the time with the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Most of the ahadith come through who? Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha. And when was she only lived not many years of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's life. It was in her teen years, before 20, after 20, in the early adulthood that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away. So what about all those years at the beginning? So what this means, Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, he burnt a book of ahadith, because he said, if I give this to anyone, people will misunderstand and they will misinterpret, and they don't have the knowledge to understand what he sallallahu alaihi wasallam told me. So he burnt the book out of the worry that people will misunderstand. But there are many things that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam told Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, especially in those 3 days during the hijrah. What do you think? They sat there talking about nothing? But yet Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq didn't mention many of the things that the Holy Prophet ﷺ told him on those 3 days alone. No one else. So many of these matters they are here and there. They are mentioned. Many of them are in the Holy Quran. Ilmul Yaqeen is mentioned in the Holy Quran. People read it all the time. Ainul Yaqeen, Haqqul Yaqeen, Sidratul Muntaha is mentioned in the Holy Quran, and Baytul Ma'mur and others. They're mentioned, but you just read them reciting. These people, when they recite, they're not only reciting, they're visiting, they're visualizing, they're seeing them. When Taraweeh is being read in Ramadan and it's coming around the corner, as the Holy Quran is being recited, they're witnessing those matters at the same time. Their spirit can go in the past, in the future, they're seeing this. But do they go and tell people? No. For the spiritual openings are for people who've done the 4 conditions: the body, the mind, the heart, the soul. Do them, and when you do dawah, those are the things we tell people about. The person who's done all them and is doing those preconditions, now they want more closeness to Allah Azza wa Jal, and these are the matters which are amongst them that you can have, and they are mentioned. You will find them. The Holy Quran and the Hadith have levels. You've read many of these things, but it's not come to your mind because you didn't have the eye to see it. Now when you read them, you will. So inshallah, many of them are grounded in the Holy Quran, in the Sunnah, and in different ahadith, but there are thousands of, do you know how many ahadith Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah himself knew? 1 million. We have never counted to 1 million, he knew 1 million by heart. So can you imagine when mashayikh speak and they tell you something, they give you the fruit and you just drink it and take it. But how much knowledge and research and experience they've been through to give that to you on a plate, you could never easily go through that yourself. If you wanted to go through that, it would take years upon years upon years upon years, and maybe your intellect wouldn't be able to tolerate it. So they give you everything on a plate. So yes, like Ustaz Shah Alam said, this isn't the retreat for the the evidences and all of those things. That's more of a theoretical workshop on spiritual Miraj. This is a practical workshop on spiritual Miraj. When you travel them yourself, then you begin to have nafsul yaqeen. Your nafs is satisfied and your heart is satisfied because it's seen, experienced then. So after this session, when we have the Miraj sessions, then inshallah you will experience, hopefully, and then you from there can become satisfied with that. But the evidences in all of these matters, that is for a different retreat, inshallah. Exactly.
So just to quickly summarize and hand over to Ustad Sajid, inshallah. So quickly, if you look at the presentation again. So again, if you look at it as a summarized form, that from the Masjid al-Nabawi, they go to Kaaba Sharif, then Masjid al-Aqsa, then the seven skies, then Bayt al-Ma'mur, the Dome of Barzakh, then Sidrat al-Muntaha, then the 8 Jannah, and then from the Jannah to Illiyin and Mazid, then the divine tablet and the throne, then many other levels, then many of the manifestations, Al-Mirakka, excellence, House of Allah, and then some of the Abdiyat stations mentioned as well. So I can see the full journey in this one image as well, inshallah. Now quickly, there's also a descent from there, that you return. You go ascend and now you come back. When you come back, you return with something as well. So just briefly touch upon that. When you return back to Kaaba Sharif. So spiritually, as in a session, you're doing it, you go all the way up, wherever you travel, mashallah, or even with the guide, you return, and when you return back upon Kaaba Sharif again in Mecca, and then from there, you receive some kind of gift, or some kind of, you could say, resolution, maybe better to say, that look, from now on, I'm going to have these things. So don't worry about too much details of it. Maybe the salah, you become more strong on, charity, fasting, tawaf, Quran, Sunnah, and presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so on, and His mercy. And then obviously then you go back to the green dome and the blessed grave, the Masjid Nabawi. So basically the reverse journey happens now. As you started the spiritual journey, you come back and give due thanks and salam and wida, and then inshallah you receive some more gifts from there. And the one thing is left is to remain steadfast on this path and conveying dawah of the message of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So all it boils down to is this, that you become strong in your path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, personally in your spiritual journey, and physically in terms of seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which Brother Usman covered before in terms of the journey of purification and so on, and then just to convey this message to others. And then you live whole life like this, then inshallah Allah will bless us and grant us Jannah and His mercy and His divine presence, inshallah. So that's the full journey and a return as well. So very quickly, what's brother, our Ustad Sajid will cover, when all the way back, you can just do so that you are clear. Yeah. So after 4 objectives, basically prophetic ascension. So that purification of the spiritual entities which is within yourself, these subtle spiritual centers apart from the ruh. He'll explain where they are. We're going to start. So today, that we're going to begin, inshallah, the first explanation of it and the practice of the first step towards this. The whole journey you saw now, but today we're going to begin the journey from our own self, inshallah. So very quickly, if you have any questions, please raise your hand. We can ask. And after that, I'm going to hand over. I'm conscious of time as well. Asri Ju, would like to finish this off, so that next session we're ready for action. No more training. Action time, inshallah. Yeah. So limit your questions to whatever you can, inshallah, and then ask for the Ustaz Sajid to continue. Yeah. Yes, please.
One question was, it's obviously very exciting, inshallah, and to experience or to look forward to Ayn al-Yaqeen. But when Ustad Usman was covering the previous session, when he was asking us to follow, this was probably one of the first times I became quite fearful when he was covering, for example, the barzakh and the grave and talking about the snakes and so on. And I began to visualize some of this, and this is probably one of the first times I actually became fearful of what I might see or experience. And is there any guidance or advice you could give us on to how to overcome that or deal with that if, inshallah, we do experience some...
Let me ask you, so when you feel fearful, what does that make you feel now?
Now?
Yeah, when you had the experience, does it make you feel that I have to be more strong in deen, after I avoid sins, because this is going to happen to me? Did you feel all that?
Not at the time, to be honest. I was just scared. I wasn't sure how to kind of, snakes and grave and
like
things.
To reflect now, okay, snakes, so we know from the hadith he exists. We know in the grave he will come and bite us and follow all these things. You've had a personal experience. Yeah? So one quick I'll say, rather than elaborating further, one quick thing, a lesson you draw from this, that sins is to do with, for example, backbite of people, certain sins, not looking after purity, going to bathroom and so on, all this aspect. So you'll be more careful. I don't fall into these things. If you can understand that concept, then this is beneficial to you.
That's fine, I appreciate that, but my question is that, if we experience some Ayn al-Yaqeen with these kind of views, if you like, or tasting or experiencing, then how do we deal with it? Because we might freak out or something, or during the Ayn al-Yaqeen session, maybe.
You're talking in the session?
Yes.
Yeah, in the session, don't worry, brothers are here, expert brothers, they'll deal with it as well, if that happens. Okay. So don't worry about that, inshallah. If you're scared at home, then that's a different matter.
One thing to add to that is, this question, ask yourself, would you rather see it now, or would you rather see it and experience it after death? Because if you see it now, you don't experience it. What was surrounding you the whole time? Do you remember? You had a protective bubble. Through that, nothing could attack you. You couldn't taste it. You couldn't feel the pain. That's something you don't want to taste. So you were protected because you're only witnessing it from this world, but you're in that spiritual world. When the people die and they go into the hereafter and the barzakh, they're going to experience it. They will have Ayn al-Yaqeen and they will have Haqq al-Yaqeen. So either way, you're going to eventually have Ayn al-Yaqeen and Haqq al-Yaqeen and the others, but then it will be too late. It will be experiencing it in a sad and torturous way. So you tell yourself this, I would rather see it now and have that fear in me, because it will take me away from getting there in the hereafter. So that fear that you have now, you tell yourself this fear, you embrace it, it's good for you. This fear is fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and fear of the hereafter, because this will prevent you from going there in the hereafter. What happens can anyone tell me what happens to the people on the Day of Judgment who were ignorant? The ones who had no knowledge, what happens to them? Are they even questioned? They're thrown in Jahannam without being questioned. So the ones who were ignorant, they had no knowledge, the angels asked them, this is mentioned in the hadith, that if the angels ask them, oh, you did this, you backbited this person, they will say, oh, what's backbiting? I never heard of that word before. What's lying? Always swearing a sin, always looking down mahram a sin. They had no knowledge. What can the angels question them? So they're thrown in the fire. The people here now, you're not ignorant. You have knowledge and you have experience. So you have more weapons to fight, this battle in this world with. And then when the hereafter comes, inshallah, hopefully you'll be more successful. But seeing it now benefits you because the fear is beneficial. That fear is good for you. So embrace it. And so your question is, if I don't want to do the ascension because I might see these things, then you have to tell yourself, no, seeing that now is good for me, and that fear is good. And do you know what that fear is? That fear is form of haqqul yaqeen. Because you've got a quality which is a quality. It may be a state. A station is, so what you saw the word stations there before. Stations are permanent, states are temporary. So you only had a temporary state, it's not permanent. So you experience a little bit of fear, but that is a haqqul yaqeen itself. You've experienced something. So, and that fear will keep you away from disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But that doesn't mean that you don't go back there. You only go back there when the guide takes you there. So in the spiritual world, you always have a guide. The mashayikh will take you. Wherever they take you, you go. And they will never take you there for too long so that you become overwhelmed. How long did we stay in those worlds witnessing them? It was a short time, then we left. And every time you see the punishment, you almost always see the reward. And majority of the time when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the punishment in the Holy Quran, what's mentioned right after? The reward as well, and the Jannah. So you have to have the pleasure and the pain. Both are motivating factors. Pleasure and pain.
And just to quickly on this, so basically I would say it's good to see here, because you can translate that into action. When you see in the grave, it's too late. You can't say, Allah, can you turn me back there so I can do all the good actions again. So that has its benefit. Yes, I know people, something you see for the first time, yeah, people do freak out. And there's a course of action for this. My brothers are here, they can help you with that. So that's another reason why we sat here, that if you have any issues on those aspects. The reason is we've not gone to all the details. We've not started yet. Once we start tonight or whenever, inshallah, then all this will be uncovered and we'll deal with it that way, inshallah. But I know you already had an experience, that's why you're mentioning it, which is good, mashallah. We thank you for this as well. But yes, it's good that you can, because the main thing is beneficial here because you can translate it into action. You can do something about it. If you see, like Ustad Usman said, in the grave, it's too late now. What can you do? You just have to suffer. May Allah Ta'ala protect us from that. So that's why it's better to see it now so that I can do something about it. That's the main lesson you can take from this, inshallah. I think I'm quickly going to invite our Ustad Sajid now, inshallah, to continue with this aspect, the spiritual entities, because that's where it all begins, this journey, inshallah, to purify them. So he's going to go through, explain how this works, and he might even ask you to do some practices as well. But the actual practice will begin now, I believe is after Isha now, the main session. Yeah, so after Asr is a rest time. Do rest, inshallah. You need all the rest and energy and food after Maghrib. So you'll be refreshed. You'll have your energy for the food, so that spiritually can then travel after that, inshallah. Don't say I'm tired then this is the time you're getting now, inshallah. Yeah?
Stretch for 2 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. So Ustad Sajid, if you want to please come. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah. You can all stand up and stretch yourself, because what he will say is quite technical as well, so you have to be quite fresh.
Right, brothers.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Just a request that these presentation sessions is important that you actually able to see the screen. Brothers who are on the side, then you'll get a neck ache after a while because you have to turn your head over. So we'd rather ask where this line is, everyone come to this line. Everyone go beyond that line and face towards Qibla. Please, inshallah. Everyone come forward first of all. Everyone come back and come to this line here, where the first saf is, inshallah. And sit in a position where you can see the screen properly, inshallah. Okay? Don't worry about seeing the speaker because he'll be on the screen as well, inshallah. You get to see him.
Yes,
so,
watch the screen.
Important to see the screen, inshallah, yeah. So, yeah, everyone just come for, there's plenty of space on this side. If you want to, can I request some brothers to come this side, those who can sit on the floor? Okay, okay, that's fine. Inshallah. Jazakallah, thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. MashaAllah. Now it's very important that you can see the screen. So wherever you're sitting, you can see. This is going to be a very much to the point and a very practical session. Now this, from my experience, is the foundation. If you can get your head around this, the rest of the journey will be, inshallah, with Allah's will be easy. Now some of you have practiced some of these Lataif spiritual center exercises. Now I also want you to come as an empty vessel as well and learn the methodology, and the order is also very important. Again, if you could have the screen up, please. MashaAllah, we spent most of the day with the theory. The theory is very important with the foundation. The foundation, because this spiritual journey starts afterwards. The preconditions, as you know, are the body, mind, heart, and the soul. But really, those 5 amals that Ustad Usman and Dr. Shah Alam have gone through, is what you need to remember is the practical application of it. So do make firm intention. Remember, Allah is all merciful, and it's with Allah's will this all happens. So make the firm intention that you will do that foundation or course of the path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the practical aspect of that, the 5 amals. Now again, this is about experiencing. You're here to see and taste. This is not a theoretical session. So with my session here, really, if there are questions, keep it to the point of understanding how we're going to, ultimately going to use these spiritual centers to transfer into the spiritual body. Now that's the body that will allow you to, with the teacher, with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you would travel and enter the spiritual realms. So really the methodology is how to transfer into the spiritual body, so then you with your teacher can travel the realms and the stations the brothers have mentioned. Again, this is just the slide, just emphasizing, again, the spiritual centers are not the purpose. Many people get hung up about the Lataifs, get hold of one Lataif and use that for healing or whatever powers. You'll see as we go through that, this is not the purpose. We are literally using these to transfer the spirit in the spiritual body. You'll see we'll even finish the spiritual centers as we go through the methodology. Again, this is benefit reminds the believer. This is really so you guys understand, and a reminder to myself, all of this can be this can happen. There's 3 levels. There's 2 of it is in your control. Thought level, imagination level. These are all in your control. So when we do feedback practical sessions, everybody should be giving feedback on these 2 levels. The what is not in your control is a spiritual level, when things start to happen automatically. Give the example of, it's like riding a bike. Now, if you remember, if you go back to the days when your father or your older brother taught you how to ride a bike, it looked impossible. There's a bike, there's the handles, how am I going to, so you got to try. Make sure you're trying at level 1 and level 2, and then automatically things will happen. The bike, you know, you won't even realize your dad's let go of the back of the seat. Okay, everybody with me so far? Bismillah. People at the back, you can see the screen okay? Alhamdulillah. Okay, again, we've touched on these things. These things are important because the brothers have asked a question about distraction. So really, even now learning this, the theory bit's done. I want your full attention here and be present in the now and have the end in mind. Obviously, the infinite end is the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The very short end is what is going to happen and the experience you will have, and the aim being Tuesday morning or even Monday night. Some of you be able to travel and experience, inshallah, before then as well. So having the end in mind and being present in the now, and the end of all ends, which is the infinite pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, leads to correct one's intention. And with that, we keep the three keys in mind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees me, Allah hears me. So this is a good habit. You can get into. It helps with the focus, helps with the reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now before, again, this is what we're talking about is practical. So don't need to take any notes. I will be giving you a handout as a summary on all of this. But the order is important. Understand the principles that we will be going through. So before you start, there's 2 rakat nafil, prayer of need. You made your intentions. You bring yourself in the presence of Allah. You perform 2 rakat salat hajat, prayer of need. Express your weaknesses and need and beg Allah for help to travel to His closeness and pleasure. Now just a note there for idabs, if you haven't done it before, there'll be many collective sessions happening. It's going to become, from now on, it will become practical after this. So try and be prepared before the session comes. Have your 2 nafil done. If you haven't done it, don't disturb anybody, particularly if the ustads are present, the teachers present. Make intention, do it afterwards, okay? Don't get hung up on it. Is that everybody with me so far here? Okay. Next, and remember this order as well, it will be in the handout, the amal of protection. And I'm just going through this fairly quickly so everything is to the point, so we can go and at least practice some of the exercises. So the amal of protection, Surah Fatiha once, Ayatul Kursi once, the last 3 kuls 3 times in order. Then you blow in your hands and rub over your body. So you blow, rub over your head, and across your body like this. Okay? And there's 3 states to enter. We will mention these things as we do. You'll be doing this with your eyes closed. The 3 states or 3 muraqabas to enter. One is of humbleness. It could be any example, something that puts you. So you can start thinking about these things as well. Something that puts you in a state of ajizi, humbleness. And this is an example. I think, oh Allah, I am not able to worship, love, fear, and remember you as you deserve, nor am I doing my best. So think about these things, and you'll think of, and you'll have other examples that put you in a state of humbleness. Shukr, gratefulness. Again, something that puts you in a state of gratefulness. I do not deserve any blessings. It's purely from the grace of Allah that I'm being blessed. Even being here. I know many people were turned away because we try to keep this to a certain level of numbers and to keep it focused. So even the fact that your brothers are here, that's a blessing. Gratefulness. So shukr on that as well. And then reliance on this journey. Nothing is easy except if Allah wills it. So ask Allah, rely on Allah. And think, I'm not able to travel to you, Allah. It's really you that takes me to you with your fazl and grace. I have my faith in you as you are the real doer and I am nothing. And just ponder on this and rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And refresh, keep refreshing. This we will do at the beginning of each and every session that you'll do practically. And like the muraqabah dua, the amals of starting. Bismillah, Astaghfar 3 times, Durood Sharif 3 times, La hawla wa la quwwata 3 times. Again, the reminders of this, of relying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and asking Allah's help and getting yourself mentally prepared for this travel. Any questions so far? It's fairly straightforward. But now, some of you have got your eyes closed. I want you to open them, please. Yeah. Now focus on the actual exercises that we're going to discuss. And understanding the methodology will make it easier when you have to do it for real. 7 spiritual centers of the 7 lataif. Knowing their colors and knowing their order is important. The red below the navel. Orange at the level of the navel. Yellow at the level of the stomach. Green, chest or at the level of the heart. Light blue at the level of the throat. Indigo, dark blue, it's the level of the forehead. The white, crown of the head. Crown of the head, like where your turban sits. Okay, we're just going to go through now what we call the first level is the preparation lataif. This is a breathing exercise. As you can see in the diagram, always start in this position if it's easy. If for any medical reasons you need to sit on a chair, not a problem. If you can start in this position, this is the best position to start in, and then get comfortable. Just bring the slides up here so you can have a read as well. And we will practice this as well. So at the moment, just keep the eyes open and have a look at the positioning. So you've got to imagine, with your imagination, imagine the name of Allah is above your head, like shown in the diagram. And as you breathe in through your nose, at the same time, you imagine the nur, the light from the name of Allah is coming from the top of your head down into your body through the lataif, but it illuminates the whole body. So you breathe in through your nose, imagine the name of Allah, and it's coming from the top of your head. This one is different from the next ones we show. So this is a preparation lataif, and it comes in as you breathe in. You're breathing in through your nose. And at the same time, imagine the light of the name of Allah above your head. It's coming from the top of your head, in down and illuminating the whole of your body. Then as you breathe out, slowly breathe out from your mouth and release. Release the stresses, darkness, sins, nerves, anything that is worrying you on your mind, let it go. Any questions on this one before we practice it? Okay, I just want to try this so you get used to this, so it's easier when we do it for real. So there will be many ups and downs on this journey. Some of you, like we talked about stations and states, so just keep the end in mind. The end we're looking at Monday night, Tuesday morning, inshallah. So I want everybody now to close your eyes. And as we're waiting for people to close their eyes and get relaxed, just keep the 3 keys. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with me, seeing me and hearing me. Keep your eyes closed. And I want you to imagine the name of Allah is in white above your head. And as you imagine the name of Allah, keep those 3 keys in mind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is with me, seeing me, hearing me. Now breathe in through your nose, and at the same time imagine the nur from the illuminated name of Allah is coming, gathering on top of your head, and as you breathe in through your nose, it enters into your head and illuminates down your body, illuminates the whole of your body. And as you breathe out, you release any worries, tension comes out of your mouth, and it's releasing. Relax your shoulders. Again, keep the presence. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with me, seeing me, hearing me. Imagine the name of Allah is above your head. And as you breathe in through your nose, the nur of Allah gathers from the top of your head all the way down into your body, illuminates your whole body. And as you breathe out, you're releasing all your worries, all your tensions, darkness, any sins, anything on your mind, worries about behind, your business, your work, financial, relationship issues, is releasing. Okay, and again, this is not doing this for real yet, this is just to get you used to it. So slowly now open your eyes. And we do aim for 10 minutes on this one. This is a very, many people from who've given a feedback in the past and in Pakistan, a lot of their weakness was neglecting this part or knowing how to do this. They confuse this one with the next one when we do the individual spiritual centers. So the methodology of this is different from the first one. I'll go through that with you now. Cleansing of the red spiritual center. I'm not going to pick anybody, but just if you could just shout out, where is the location of the red spiritual center? Yeah, below the nail. Jazakallah, thank you. Now the methodology of this one, again, look at the slides. This time you imagine the name of Allah is in red color. Inhale a long deep breath through the nose. So again, breathing through the nose, same as before, but this time the imagination is that the light, the nur, is in red color, coming from the name of Allah, which is in red color. This time is coming from in front of you. So it's coming, so imagine the name of Allah above your head in red, and the nur before was going in to the top of your head. This time is coming from in front. And it's going to the area of the location of the red spiritual center, which was below the navel. This time as you breathe out, the light is exiting from behind your body. So it's entering from the front and exiting from behind. And with every breath out, imagine the spiritual center getting clean, sparkling, and energized. So think of them as car engines. Now we're focusing on each engine, and we're igniting it, cleansing it with the light of the name of Allah. Is that clear? So we'll practice this one. If we practice it, then when you do it for life, it'll be easier. Okay? And again, just have a look at the slide first. Picture the name of Allah. And as you look at the name of Allah, bring in the thoughts, Allah is with me, seeing me and hearing me. Keep looking at the name of Allah in red color. Now I want you to close your eyes. Close your eyes. Imagine the name of Allah is in red color above your head. And as you breathe in through your nose, and the light this time gathers from the name of Allah in red color in front of you, enters the red Lataif location, which is below the navel. And as you breathe out, it goes through that area of your body and exits from behind when you breathe out. Just keep doing that. Then when you're ready, if you could slowly open your eyes now. It's just a practical exercise so you can get familiar when we do it for longer. I will go through the other locations. As you go up, you imagine the name of Allah is in orange color. Now where is this located? at the navel, mashallah. Same methodology as the red. But this time you imagine the name of Allah is in orange, and remember the location has moved up to the navel. Yellow. Where is this located? I've got chest, I've got stomach. We'll see what this stomach. Yeah. Again, I will give this to you on the handouts, but if I engage you, it'll help to remember quicker. Green. Location of the green? Chest, heart level. Light blue. Throat. Indigo, dark blue. MashaAllah. The white. Crown of the head. Yeah, top of the head, that's fine. But just at the top, where your turban sits. Okay? Are these all quite clear? You don't need me to practice these ones. You've got the methodology. Any questions so far?
Quick question. When you're breathing in through the nose, is there any of the colourful latives? You have to imagine at the same time, synchronize that with your imagination.
That's a good question. Could somebody kindly give in the mic? Because I think they're going to be recording this, so maybe inshallah other people will benefit. Brother Shafiq, were you sleeping on me?
Bismillah. The question was that when we're practicing the colourful latives, like the red and the orange, and we're breathing in through our nose, are we at the same time synchronizing that with our imagination, where the red light is going in through that appropriate latif? So
yes, that's a good question. Some people do get confused. They're breathing in. So this is why I try to do a little practice. So your understanding is correct. So you're breathing in through your nose, and at the same time you're imagining the light coming from the name of Allah, but entering not your nose, entering the location of the latif. As you breathe out, the light is exiting from behind. Just wait.
Bismillah. Do you say Allahu as you're doing that?
No, keep it simple. Yeah, just do what's been mentioned. Yeah, the key thing is the presence and the imagination. Just like Brother Zafar said, that is the key here, the breathing, but what you are doing with the imagination. Okay? And any other questions? So brother here, just please wait for the mic.
Made you come far, with the final one, with the light, the white light at the crown. So then, do you just picture it gliding along the head and not coming into the body, or?
Yeah. So imagine. So if you look at Brother Shafiq there. See where his turban is? So imagine the light is entering the front of his turban and exiting from behind when you breathe out. Does that answer your question?
I think so.
Yeah. So, or just above the head, if that's easier. So it's not the forehead. The reason I said turban is because where is this the turban is not sitting over my forehead. It has this, so at this level here. Yeah, the level of where someone's turban is. We say the crown of the head. Okay.
So does that enter from here?
Okay, so when we do so if you look at this one here, the dark blue one, that will enter as you breathe in, that will enter your forehead as you breathe in. As you breathe out, it will exit from the back of your head at the level of the forehead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
I think I've understood, but I'm just making sure if it's right. So the breathing's not really got anything to do with where the light goes in from and where it goes out to. That's more to do with the pattern of how you're doing it. So if you've got light on top of your head, the white light, when you breathe, you basically you're expecting it to go in from the top of your head and go out from the back, and that's with all the rest of the lights as well.
When you're doing the individual spiritual centers.
Yeah.
So the very first one, the preparation one, it was entering from the top of your head and going all the way down to your body.
And then it leaves it from where?
From as you breathe out, it comes out.
Okay, so it goes down and then out.
So it comes down, illuminates the whole body, and as you release, you breathe out from your mouth.
Okay, and the rest go across your body.
Yeah, I'll show you. I'll go back to the diagram for you. That's the preparation one. That's breathing in. Can you see my pointer? Yeah. And as you breathe out, it's coming out here. That's breathing out. Whereas the individual spiritual centers, so if you follow the pointer, breathing in, breathing out. Yeah? So if I go back to the crown of the head, as I was asked, or the forehead. So just follow the pointer. Now breathing in, breathing out. Just above the head. Now the name of Allah is in red color. The spiritual center is white. You're breathing in, you're breathing out. You follow the pointer? Okay. Does that help?
Yeah, that
Okay, thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, Ustad. With the preparation one, when you're breathing out the worries and everything like that. With the individual color ones, are you focusing on any particular things which are sort of going out, or just?
No, just the cleansing of the lataif.
Okay.
Yeah, so imagine, if you can, at the same time, imagine the lataif is being cleansed, energized. If not, that will come with practice. Just follow the methodology. That will happen automatically. Okay, that will be part of the feedback session as well. You can feedback. I could see the lataifs. I can see the colors. I can see the light going in. I can see it energizing. I can see it's blocked. I can see I can't get the light in. Yeah, that's a sign of a blockage. And inshallah, hopefully, hence why a lot of effort was put in by Brother Usman with the blockages. That sheet that you did there, that will help with this. Yeah. Okay, so the order, the way the brothers have done this is very important. It's all climaxing to this to help you to get through this and release your spiritual. So which I'm going to go into next now.
Okay. Jazakallah.
Okay, so that's the individual cleansing of the lataif. After that, now to make it simple, after that you're going back to similar exercise you did at the preparation. For clarity, we've called this the vertical column or multicolored rainbow one, so you can remember the order where this is coming. So the breathing and the breathing out is very similar to the preparation. Imagine the name of Allah is in white color, and as you breathe in through your nose, the light is coming from the top through all the lataifs, through the whole of your body is illuminated. And as you breathe out, the light is getting more and more intense, but your breathing is the same, but with each breath the body starts to disappear. Okay, so this is happening with your thoughts, with imagination level. Now when you do this breathing, the easiest way to remember this is the same as the preparation. Don't worry too much about the rainbow colors if that gets confusing. Think of it as the same as the preparation one, but with each breath the body starts to disappear. Until all the body has gone. So the body disappear. Now what remains is the name of Allah, the spiritual centers, your breath and the spirit. Okay? And now, like I was saying right at the beginning, we even now finish the lataif. There's just a means to an end. So we go past, we go beyond that. Our focus, our purpose is not the lataif. So here, then with each breath now, the lataif start to disappear one by one. Start with the red one. Sometimes with some people, they see all the lataifs have disappeared, but keeping to the methodology, start with the red and upwards, orange, yellow, green, light blue, dark blue, and then the white one disappears. Now what's left? What's left now? Your breath and the spirit remain. Okay? Everybody with me so far? The next bit is obviously crucial as well. Any questions up to this point? That's good, mashallah. So what's left now? The breath and the spirit remain. Now what the next step is, again, with your thoughts and imagination, you create the spiritual body. And basically what that is, with your imagination, you're making a copy of yourself in front of you. Or an outline, like looking in the mirror. But Gulfam, how are we doing for time? Yeah, I can finish this. It might be a good time to... I can pause here if you want to pray. Yeah? Okay, that's good. Then we'll go... The next part is how to transfer your spirit. Okay? So this is a good place to pause. And then we'll recap and go through this in detail.